Hello Leo, thank you for joining me. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for liking, sharing and subscribing. I hope you enjoy the insights here. This is a general reading. Take what works for you. It may also apply to someone you are close to at this time. If you have strong influences in your chart associated with another sign, please feel free to cross-watch to my other videos for further insights. I have shuffled and laid out the cards. I work with the 12 houses of the Zodiac, so as the cards appear in each house, then those are the influences that are coming to bear at this time. So, in your first house, you have South Node Life's Debts. So this indicates that you need to make some changes. This is everything to do with yourself, your body, and your sort of your observable characteristics and your impressions of your personality. So everything that you're projecting outward to others, what they perceive when they look at you, when they meet you, when they get to know you. So it's the first sort of how you come over to them, but it's also about your self-oriented interests as well, and just how you make your way outward in the world, your independence and so on. So now with this card appearing in there, you basically need to, you're at a turning point, or you're going to receive some sort of wake-up call, but it's about casting off old habits, situations, people and places. You've got to somehow get out of a rut or some sort of comfort zone, which is you've basically outgrown. In other words, it's holding you back from getting on with what it is you really need to get on with, what you came here to do, and to start moving on to onto paths that are more aligned with you at this time. So it's time to grow and develop in ways that are aligned with you now. So it's a case of change or be changed. This also brings about endings and beginnings. So something may end and then something may begin. But it's also about finding the highest vision of yourself, your potential. You need to reach for your highest possible potential at this time. But you will have to take action, or it will be brought to you, and you'll be forced to take action. But it's possibly things that you already know about, things that you feel restricted about, things that are just no longer serving you anymore. It's just not working for you. Old ways that you used to be in, old habits, ways that you expressed yourself, ways that you sort of communicated with others. It's all got to change now, because you need to move forward. You may, if you don't make the changes that are required of you, or just the subtle, subtle things that you perhaps can sort of work with at this time, then what will happen is you will start to feel really restricted and almost stifled and depressed. So avoid that. If you need to take action, if you need to change how how you're projecting yourself outward, it could be a physical regime that you are wanting to start, or something that you've always wanted to do. It's basically just casting off old things that just aren't working for you anymore. But it really is a turning point, and it's an opportunity to get with the program, which is now what you've chosen actually before you came here. So it's all about finding your life purpose, getting on your life purpose in some way, shape or form. It needn't be, some major dramatic change of direction. It could just be a changing of how you have been doing things to allow more growth, so that you can help yourself develop. You need to help yourself, really. That's what it's about. So with this appearing in your first house, how you are projecting yourself to others and how you're coming across to others is directly going to affect your seventh house, which is to do with your close personal one-on-one relationships. So what you're going to be doing here is directly going to affect that. So those two go hand in hand as well. Then in the second house, we have Cancer, I feel. Second house is everything to do with your income, your money. And it's to do with what you own, your possessions, your self-worth and your values, your value systems. So with this coming in, it really is, it's very much, it's a water sign, so it's everything to do with your emotions. How do you feel? How do you feel about those areas in your life? Basically, you've got to follow your deep instinct and your feelings. That's what this is telling you. You will have to move forward in some way, so decisions need to be made, but you're going to have to be resilient about what you do. You can't just sort of let things slide. You are actually going to have to be quite resilient to actually make adjustments as needed. You won't be able to hide from what needs to be done. You will have to actually take action, but it really is about how you feel. You know, if you're feeling particularly moody at this time, or you're going through emotional ups and downs, do your best to overcome that and try and sort of come from a place of deep instinct and knowing, because ultimately that's going to guide you very, very well. You may also have very old-fashioned views about things. Old-fashioned views serve some people very well, but sometimes you outgrow them and then they don't serve you anymore. So it's about examining those areas of your life, views that you have about yourself, or possibly your values, or just your perhaps your worth. Perhaps you're not, you're still living under some old concept which is not actually helping you. You're going to have to it's about living in the past, so as well. So you want to just examine that, let go of those areas that don't help you now. There's going to be some sort of rearrangement in any one of those areas. Perhaps you're letting go of old possessions as well, or getting new ones. You're going to have to take a creative approach as well. There may be domestic, family, or female issues coming up in any one of those areas. But if it comes to sort of, if you may also be wanting to sort of invest or buy like antiques, old things. Maybe that's a little sideline business for you, so that's a way of some sort of interest of yours, or you just have things in your possession which now need to be moved on because you don't have the space for them in your home, or it's not practical for you to have it at this time. So always come back to your feelings, examine your deep instinct and your feelings about things, and you will know, I feel, what needs to be done to help yourself move forward, to resettle certain things, or just to have a different perspective on what's going on in any one of those areas. So that's your income, your money, your possessions, what you own, it's property as well. So all property issues, real estate, land, and it's also your self-worth and your values. Then here in your third house, we have Grand Trine Blessings, very lovely card. Your third house is everything about how you communicate. So it's verbal, written, it's even body language. This third house also rules contracts and documents. So with Grand Trine Blessings in there, what this is bringing in for you, it's easy flow. So how you're communicating with others, what you're saying, your words, and what's coming back to you from others as well. You can expect a very harmonious flow, and it can also indicate being in the right place at the right time. It also indicates popularity. And if you're wanting to sort of move forward on certain issues, then take the path of least resistance. So just go with the flow, just flow around obstacles and things that might come up in your path, because this indicates that you will just overcome them, you'll just flow right around them and keep going. It does indicate that you still have to keep your hand on the wheel. So you may be feeling that flow, you may be feeling that ease and progress and paths just clearing for you. But you still have to steer, you still have to apply yourself, but keep your hand on the wheel. But it's about just going with the current, sensing what needs to be done and going with the current. You may also be receiving help and support at this time, which is got financial benefits to you. But things will be easier. The third house also is the house of local trips, short trips. So you may even win a trip, or you might somebody might gift you a weekend away or something like that. Take it, whatever gets given to you, enjoy it, and be grateful that you have the opportunity, and go and enjoy and relax. And as I said, it's easy flow, so you'll feel quite abundant at this time. Then in your fourth house, you have Pluto transformation. So this is to do, if the fourth house is everything to do with your home life, and also your roots, your ethnic identity, or your foundation, your family foundation that you came from. So it's your views about that as well. So now with Pluto transformation, it says exactly what it says there. So it's actually a really powerful card. It can be quite surprising what comes to you. There can be upheavals, or it could just be a necessary change to shift you in some way. So it's basically about transforming your home life in some way. So either it's your actual home and what goes on there, or you could be having a Plutonian type person come into your home, or there's some kinds of shift and transformation going on there. It also could be transforming your views of your family identity, looking at that and realizing possibly that what you thought was very beneficial for you in that regard, with regards to your roots and your foundation and your early family and so on, what you thought was beneficial actually isn't, or is proving that it's that idea or that perception that you have is not actually working for you anymore. It's just not right. So there's some kind of rearrangement, some kind of deep contemplation, and then a shift of perspective in that regard. It could also be a physical thing within your home, perhaps renovation, some kind of physical transformation of your home, either the interiors or the exteriors or both. If you are doing some kind of renovation, or if you are moving to a home, whether it's a new one or an old one, please check out the plumbing, the sewers, the foundations, basically the water in and out, because Pluto deals with anything hidden or underground. So any one of those areas could yield a really sort of a surprise or even a shock, and now you've got to deal with it. So this is quite an intense card. So it could be something which is really going to push your boundaries. It could also be, as I said, things are uncovered or things come to light that weren't clear before. It's also perhaps an ending of some sort, which leads to a new beginning, perhaps an old thing to a new thing, an old home to a new home, or something like that. It also could be, as I said, to do with people in your home. There might be a few power struggles. Sometimes when things get intense, when you're trying to do a renovation or you've got that sort of thing going on, it can really test everybody's patience, and there may be a few power struggles about how things should be done, when they should be done. All of those issues may come up for you at this time. Just watch your finances as well with this. Just be careful that you're not spending more than you need to on what needs to be actually done in the home itself. Then in the fifth house, we have Mercury retrograde, which is reinvention. So in your fifth house, this is the house of children, your children or children that you're associated with. It's also the house of creativity, your creativity, or possibly even your children's, or your relationship with them. How creative is that? Creativity is not necessarily artistic. It's just, you can be a creative speaker, you can be creative as a mum or a dad. There's lots of ways that can come in. So it's also the house of love affairs as well, and also all recreational activities. So having fun. It could be various arts and crafts that you like to do, or just clubs like sports clubs, that sort of thing. So with this coming in, it's everything with a re in front of it needs to happen in any one of those areas in your fifth house. So it's basically all the different words like reinvent, release, rewrite, replace, recreate, repeat. So that can come about sometimes where something's just gone wrong with what you initially set out to do. Or it could be with your children. They are setting out to do something and it didn't work, and now they have to review everything that they've done, or they have to start again. It's a necessary process, because basically the second time around it will be better. It will be better. There will be, mistakes will have been found, certain issues will have been ironed out, answers will have been found. Things just weren't quite right the first time around. Now it's going to get an overhaul. It's about that contemplation to reinvent or to redo whatever it was that you set out to do. It could also just be a literal reinvention from a thinking point of view. Perhaps your children are going through that, or perhaps your children are having to reinvent themselves in some way. But this card also brings with it issues with, as I said, mistakes or delays or cancellations and so on. But it's a necessary condition in order to bring about certain things. A delay or a rearrangement of your plans may be really necessary. You may not see why it was necessary, but there is a greater purpose to that. Also, this covers technology of all kinds, whether that's your children or it's to do with your creativity. You will have to be very careful with all forms of electronics and communication and technology. You need to back everything up. You need to save it, put it in the cloud, whatever, because certain things may just get lost or just disappear, or there's a glitch in the system and then now whatever it was you were working on just isn't there anymore. There's all kinds of issues that can go on. So if you're using technology in some way, shape or form, or your children are, then this is appropriate. This also indicates going back to the drawing board for something. So this can also apply, obviously, any of these issues can apply to a love affair as well. You may have to sort of rearrange your situation. You may have to reinvent it or look at it again. Perhaps it just didn't work, or something needs to be reevaluated there. It could be a person from your past that's coming back as well, an old flame, something like that. Now you're going to give it another go. So that is a form of somebody coming back and you're now reinventing what you had before. It's also, as I said, something from the past can also come back in any one of those areas. Maybe it's an old friend, or an old friend from one of your children, or it could be an old creative project that now is coming back to you. There's various ways that can happen. Also, you could, when it comes to making purchases and things like that, or you're kind of involved in some kind of major transaction to do with either your children or your creativity, or in a love affair, just to try and avoid it for a while, because this can indicate failed purchases or things that just go wrong with the item that you've now brought on board, or in relation to your children. It just doesn't work, or something happens with it. You have to take it back and do it again, So, that can come in. There is an element of fate around this as well. But all forms of communication will be subject to revision of some sort as well. So the way you're talking to your children, perhaps an instruction you give them or something you say to them gets misinterpreted and so on. So just be aware of that. Then in the 6th house, which is your house of work, your workplace, your work colleagues, your work projects, it's also the house of your mastery of your craft. It's also the house of health and diet and pets. So with this card coming in there, Capricorn IUs, this is basically exhibiting, or you're being asked to bring in ambition and drive into your workplace and on your work project or whatever it is that you're focusing on right now. So you will probably feel that. You're either going to be working hard, or you're going to be required to bring that in some way. But it's really is focusing on your goals. It's about working with the rules. It's also about don't give up. Just keep going. Do not give up. Be determined. It's a slow and steady progress in any one of those areas. One block at a time. You may also be may either be working with or be meeting very influential people who are going to support you or help you in some way or guide you. So those people are worth hanging on to. They're worth keeping as part of your social circle, or your part of your progression through your work projects, which eventually does lead to career, which we will get to. So these are very influential people. These people are really going to be able to give you pearls of wisdom or help you in some way. There's also support there, and this is also about making a very strong foundation in any one of those areas. You're going to have to be methodical about your work projects, how you go about things. It's also about maturity as well. When it comes to your actual health and diet, All skeletal and dental issues are indicated with Capricorn, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn rules that. Also the ligaments of the body. So, you're going to have to be paying extra attention to that. And if something is niggling and you need to get it sorted out, go and do something about it. Otherwise it will come out, and then you've got to now address it in a hurry. So also make sure that you take preventative measures, so your vitamin D and your calcium magnesium sort of balance as well, that's going to have to be taken care of, so that you're sort of doing everything you can to keep your bones, your teeth and your tendons and ligaments in order, especially if you're a sports person. Then in the 7th house we have Chiron healing. 7th house is everything to do with your one-on-one personal relationships, whether this is love or business, or just a very close personal relationship that you have, but it's one-on-one. Now this is this card is about essentially wisdom through pain. So it's gaining the wisdom through difficult or trying circumstances. It could also be finding wisdom through actual pain, in other words, actual illness or some kind of issue that needs to be addressed from a health perspective. So it could be you or your partner, and it's what it's saying is healing is required before progress can be made. So this is health, physical health, but it's also emotional healing, very deep emotional healing. So through the illness will come the wisdom, and then once you've done that whole process, then you will see the light. But it's the process of going through that illness and everything that entails, and what you get to on the other side once you've been through that process. That is the wisdom that you gain in this. You could be, as I said, you could be exposed to, through illness with your partner, you may be having to visit hospitals or some kinds of health facilities, because this card rules medicine. Chiron rules medicine. It also rules homeopathy and chiropractic. So alternative health, traditional medicine, natural medicine, all of those things come under this. So explore, try different things, be sensible about it, work your way through it slowly, and try different alternative methods. Somewhere along the line you will be learning about everything as well, and you'll also be working towards enhancing the health side and also the emotional side as well, because homeopathy works on all levels. Most of the alternative health therapies do, or it could just be regular medicine, some kind of hospital visit or clinic visit or something that you need to go through in order to make progress. Spending time in nature is going to be very, very good for both or one of you. So make sure that you get out into nature to rejuvenate and just spend time, sort of just quiet time, and also time together to bond and so on. But it's going to be very healing. That nature is healing, very, very, very healing. So it's really about the mind, body and spirit connection, and the relationship in all of those areas. This could also indicate some sort of unexpected medical situation. So this may come up for you in your one-on-one relationships, or it could be that you are experiencing this yourself, and it's indicated in your relationships and somehow. Then in the 8th house we have Neptune sacrifice. So the 8th house is all to do with your big financial situation. So this is investments, insurances, tax, banking, accounting, legacies, and also inheritances, if that applies for you. So it's also dealing with other people's money. So if that's your profession, then this is coming in as well. So it's also about the material and emotional resources between committed people. So this is a love relationship or a business partnership. It's the joint resources between you. The 8th house is also about, can also be about power struggles, and it can also be about sexual issues as well. So, or just the deeper sexual partnership, in couples. So with this card coming in here, this is indicating that that a sacrifice on some level is going to be required. So whether that's financial or whether that's from an ego perspective, because essentially, especially if you're merging finances or you're merging your home or your resources, there has to be give and take on both sides, and there has to be some kind of resolution in order to move forward, to take everybody's opinion into account and so on, and everybody's situation. So in couples, this is quite a big move, especially when you have a committed relationship. And it could also be getting clear about what needs to be done with greater financial aspects as well. Because with this card, something may not be clear. Things could be a little bit misty and confusing. There could be deceptive circumstances going on as well that might come in. But just be always, with Neptune around, always aim to be clear about what you say, what you do, and be absolutely upfront in what has to be said and done. But as I said, there will be some sacrifice on some level. So whether that is you rearranging your finances to give you greater mobility, or because you need to make a bigger purchase, or there's something that you actually want to do, that you want to move towards, and you have to let go of certain things. It could be, as I said, an ego falling away, some issue that's falling away to make room for a more harmonious connection. It's basically about aiming for the greater good and what needs to be done in order to achieve that. So some sort of rearrangement to provide clarity may also be needed. You've got to be direct and you've got to be clear, because things can get very confusing with this card. There may also be some sort of form of surrender and faith coming in there as well. At all costs, avoid escapism, because that can come in onto this card as well. Escaping from what needs to be done, just escaping. If you and your partner have to have a deeper discussion about what's got to be done, and then you're just avoiding, or they're avoiding, that's escapism, or just mindlessly spending on things that just are not even really in the plan. You've got to face what needs to be done and just try your best to get clarity on how to move forward, and sort of come to some kind of agreement. This card can also bring a bit of self-sabotage in as well. So just be careful that doesn't creep in at any level. On a positive side, it's a very imaginative, very spiritual aspect to be having in. So you could actually be having a very spiritual partnership with this person, and it's exploring the great heights of that as well. So that is a possibility. It's a big possibility with this as well. Then in the ninth house, we have water element sensing. So the ninth house is everything to do with international travel. It's also to do with all things foreign, whether it's foreign people, foreign countries, businesses, like import and export, that sort of thing. It's also it's the house of teaching. It's the house of belief systems. It's the house of religion and philosophy. And it's also the house of higher education, like university study, that sort of thing. So it's also the house of in-laws, and it's the house of law, the actual law as well. So if you've got a legal issue going through the higher courts, this may come in for you as well. So what it means is go with the flow. Still keep your hand on the wheel, because you're steering your own ship always. So there will be things that have got to be done, but it's always go with the flow, and just move with the current. You may just be feeling a little bit low energy at this time, and there may be issues that are draining you. Any one of those areas, you may have to make a decision, and you just don't feel up to it right now. So then if that is the case, then what you need to do is just gather your resources. Be quiet, rest, gather your resources in preparation for what it is you have to do. So it's about gaining strength. Follow your instincts and your intuition. It's also possibly about private time, whether that's for study or just to understand your beliefs a bit better, or possibly you work in any one of those fields. It's about private time, and also you may have to work on your own. If this is to do with a travel of some sort, it's definitely a long-distance trip over water or to water. So this could be a beach holiday, or to a lake, or to a river, something like that. Very beneficial for you at this time, and you will, as I said, it's a good time to go and harness the healing elements of that as well. Enjoy the water and being by the waterside, and just really enjoying the peace and the tranquility that comes from that. It could be really very beneficial for you at this time if you are going through that and you're planning a trip, or you are going on a trip of some sort, or it just might be necessary for you to take a trip like that, and just gather your resources, gather your strength. Then in the 10th house, which is the house of career, very positive card. This is your sign. So in your house of career, it's also the house of authority figures. It's the house of your public status, your reputation, and your fame. So this is, also what you admire, what you're aiming towards, your goals, your ambitions, and so on. So with this, it's, as I said, a very positive influence. It is your sign. So you could very well be in the spotlight in your career, and you're being noticed for the work that you're doing, and whatever it is that you're doing. And you may even be receiving awards or some kind of benefit from that. And it's also about being noticed for your warmth and your charisma and your creativity, your originality, and all of that. Or it's asking you to bring that into any one of those areas, to really shine your light, to be your full Leo self. And that will help you move you forward, and that will make you noticed. So in other words, stand up and be counted, exercise your full Leo personality, and that will generate interest for you as well. Children may be indicated here, so you may be working with children or going into a field where you work with children, but it's also about creative pursuits, and it's about bringing your own personal stamp onto everything that you do. It's also about being spontaneous, and attending social activities and events like the theatre, restaurants, just going out, nightlife, and nightclubs, and that sort of thing. And events of all kinds. It could be work-related events. You may also have access to an authority figure in that area that is going to influence you. They may also be a Leo type personality, and they're going to greatly assist you at this time, or give you really good leadership, in what it is that you're doing. Then in the 11th house, we have Jupiter return benefits. So because this is a return, it indicates that this is things coming back to you now. So Jupiter return takes place around about every 12 years. So this could be something from a decade ago that comes back now. So it's something that you planted, something that's now bearing fruit, or something that just didn't work. You had to abandon it, or it just didn't take off from before. Now it comes back. Either you pick it up again and you run forward with it, or it comes back to you in some form. It could also be somebody coming back to you in some form. But the 11th house is always to do with friendships, your networks, your clubs, your associations, your associates, and your societies and your groups. It's also your personal hopes and ambitions, and it's also your personal interests and hobbies. So it could be a hobby that you used to do a long time ago, didn't really go anywhere, you had to leave it for whatever reason. Perhaps you had children, you couldn't continue with it, and now it's coming back where you can really, it will be hugely beneficial for you to pick it up and carry on with it if it comes back to you like that. It's benefits from the past. Old plans are resurrected, that sort of thing. Something bears fruit. It could also be a profit of some sort coming back to you. It's also about doors opening and the green light for something that you perhaps would like to do. It's about luck. It's about freedom. It could just be really a great sense of freedom, which once you're feeling that way, makes you feel joyful and abundant, and therefore you attract something to you. It could also be just receiving or just feeling really faithful about what it is, who you are, and also receiving support and faith through others. It's also about rapid opportunity, because the return comes quickly. So if something comes back to you, an opportunity comes up, grab it quickly, explore all the possibilities, and do something with it, because it won't always be there, and you don't want to be so enjoying yourself that you just let it slip. You must still take action and still go after whatever it is that comes up for you at this time. You could also be receiving gifts. Perhaps it's from somebody that you're an old friend. It could also just be a gift coming to you from some sort of association or group. It's also about earned luck. So this is something that you planted, something you were involved with before. You put effort in. It didn't actually materialize as you hoped. Well, now it will come back for you. Then in the 12th house, we have Uranus, which is genius. Uranus is a very transformative planet. It's the planet of change. Now it's sitting in your 12th house, which is everything to do with your spiritual life, meditation, mysticism, healing. And it's about solitude and withdrawal, retreats, that sort of thing. It's also about resolutions and endings. This house also covers escapism and addiction of all kinds, and karmic inheritance. It can also be your exposure to your experiences in institutions of all kinds. So this could be a university institution or a banking institution or a government department or a hospital or a prison or whatever. There's lots of different institutions, but it's your experiences there. So now with Uranus coming in there, I feel this is going to be, this is kind of like an awakening of some sort. You could receive a bolt of intuition, or suddenly your intuitive abilities get kicked out of the park. You know, you're now suddenly hearing, you've got your clairaudient or your clairsentient or something comes at you like that. It also, Uranus also rules astrology. So it could just be some bolt out of the blue, a wonderful, fabulous idea or some kind of resolution or some kind of healing or some kind of transformation that goes on. Or it could be the rise of a hidden gift of some kind, something to do with the higher mind. Or it could be you, as I said, clairaudient, you're hearing spirit world, you're now able to discern things, and it brings great understanding as well. So this could be really a sort of a download of some magnitude, or it could be multiple. But always with Uranus, there's a sudden change of some sort. So it, as I said, it could be inspirational, or it could just be a shock and a bolt from the blue, or some unexpected shift, and now you have to move forward through all that upheaval. But through that comes the gift. It could also be inspiration to resolve an old issue, because the 12th house also deals with your unconscious life, your unconscious beliefs and thoughts. So it could be some kind of resolution there. It could be a rise literally of genius in something that you perhaps weren't aware of. It's accessing the higher mind. It's reaching spiritual heights. Also, Uranus brings in new technology into your life. So perhaps you work in the service field, because this house also covers service of all kinds. So you work in the service field, or you work in a hospital, something like that, or a university and so on. And some new wave of technology is coming in, whether it's a new camera or a new computer or a new cell phone or much more advanced technology. Uranus usually is advanced tech of some sort. So it's exposure to that. As I said, but it could be an upheaval. It could be a bit of a shock as well. But it's a change in beliefs and lifestyle, something that you now have to change in order to move forward. And it's going to really shift you and move you forward. And it might be a bit uncomfortable, as I said. But the gifts that this brings in can be really huge for you. Right, Leo, thank you very much for joining me.